Hi, Nikita. How are you?
Very good, Rocky. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. And you have a little one to share with us as well as a meditation
This
today.
is the IO. He
Oh,
was, he was on the inside cooking the last time I came to film for you. The last video.
wow. Yeah, and we've got that beautiful series of meditations from you and amazing classes as well. I I often go back to those classes, and they're so beautifully paced and they're quite strong as well. I have to tell you,
Oh, okay.
I
Yeah.
love them. They're so reflective and really take you kind of inside. So thank you for your classes. I know that I've been sharing them loads recently and doing them lots as well. So really, I find them really helpful and supportive. So really, to kick us off, as you said, she was cooking. She
She
was
was
in the
cooking
process
away
of
on the
baking.
inside.
Yeah,
I
and
think I
so
might be about 7 months, or no, 6 months
yeah,
perhaps. We'll film them. Yeah.
yeah. So
Only 6 months old now.
is she a very kind of mellow yoga baby? What's it been like practicing with her now that she is here?
She's super mellow. Her birth was super mellow. She has always been really chilled out and relaxed. Her sister, on the other hand, my 7-year-old, was a complete force from the beginning and still is. She's luckily really into practicing yoga herself, which is the only way that I manage to practice when she's around, because she likes to do it with me.
Oh, fantastic. And I guess that must be something that's really changed for you as well, that you had one child, and I guess your identity as a mother of one is probably different with two, and there's quite an age. Did you say there's about 7 years between them? There's 7 years between my brother and I. So
Oh, really? Are you
yes.
close?
So I'm the younger one though. So hello, sweetheart. Hello. So I understand that age gap, and also I've seen some of your posts, and that having a very kind of an older sibling that's on the lookout for you as well. So I've noticed that. But how have things changed for you in terms of your yoga practice?
Well, first, it's worth remembering that yoga is not just asana, because I don't get to do much of that at the moment. I'm spending quite a lot of time trying to open into my thoracic spine on my yoga wheel, and where possible, some yin and restorative, which I feel like that's what my body and soul are really calling for at the moment. I am doing a lot of meditation, but short bursts of meditation. 5 minutes is better than no minutes, is what I keep telling myself. So whenever I find myself with some space, I sit. If the baby's sleeping, I sit. I must admit that my work at the moment, I had to be really clear with myself about what my objectives are going to be during this lockdown period, when I've got both of my kids here all the time. First of all, my big yoga is just observing my reactions and responses, because patience is on short supply, as you could imagine.
Yeah.
So just trying to be really mindful of my actions and my reactions, but also to carve out some space for myself. And that looks different every day. Some days I don't get to take any space for myself, but sometimes it's waking up super early while everyone's sleeping. Sometimes it is sending Lola out to play while the baby's asleep, having half an hour or less or so, to myself. Because I find that that's when I'm able to recharge and then show up for them, show up for myself more fully.
And so it's taking time for yourself in whatever form, and it doesn't need to have a particular shape.
Exactly, and that's what the yoga teaches us. Yoga philosophy shows us to meet ourselves exactly where we are with honesty, and not expect more from ourselves than we're able to give. to meet ourselves with a generous acceptance of what there is, and gently guide ourselves to the right medicine, to what we feel like we need. And so that's what I'm trying to do.
Brilliant. And then I was, and you've mentioned already that you've just been trying to take little snatches of meditation, and I was wondering if, in terms of what you, not so much the length of time you're meditating, but does that, the feel of your meditation, has that changed in a sense?
Definitely. To be honest, I think having children changes everything, of course, even down to the way that you eat. I can't sit down and enjoy a long, drawn-out meal anymore. Everything gets wolfed down really, really quickly. But you learn to enjoy it in a shorter space of time. So I've learned to sit down, find my breath, and quite quickly drop into just the experience, the sensation of my breath being in my body. And that is super grounding. And a really fast way to get present in my experience. And although I might not be able to spend an hour sitting, certainly 5 minutes just breathing helps to calm the nervous system, helps to bring me into the moment, and then I can get back out there with my kids in a more format of myself, version of myself.
And that's super speedy, isn't it? You don't need to roll out mats, you don't need to get out equipment. You always have your breath. I was going to suggest that maybe we should do some meditation now, and then if people have a couple of questions afterwards, that maybe I'm aware that the people watching and listening are also in the position of probably having little babies that also may be calling for their attention. So
yes.
Shall we do that then?
That sounds good. And maybe just by way of introduction for the meditation, I'll just say that I've been trying to put myself in the mindset of a pregnant woman or someone who's just given birth during the lockdown period, because I was 6 months old, so I had her and moved house before lockdown started. So I'm feeling quite lucky that it all happened before this craziness. But I think probably one of the hardest things about the lockdown period for pregnant women, for women who are in that postpartum period, the fact that we're so separate from each other, I think can leave you feeling quite disconnected from your support network. And that's important for everybody to feel like they're supported. But when you're pregnant and when you've just had a small baby, you're really vulnerable, actually. You're incredibly powerful, but you're really vulnerable. And you need to feel looked after, you need to feel safe, and you need to feel supported. And so this meditation, I suppose, is just to help remind us that we are always connected to one another, even if we can't feel the physical presence of our community. And we're always held and supported by the universe, even if it's not in ways that we can see or understand, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. That and that, I think, is a really comforting thought, isn't it? That,
I think
that something has our back, even if it's not something that we can see or touch, or a family member coming into our home.
Exactly. And I think if for any reason you find that you are feeling unsupported during this lockdown period or beyond, I think that's the perfect time. That's when we're invited to reach out for support from less physical, more abstract sources, like leaning into the universe and just trusting that you can manifest what you need, or I don't know, reaching out to spirit and being open to guidance from less tangible realms. I don't know, any practices that help you feel like you have a sense of belonging, you're part of something. The communities like Movement for Modern Life gives us, the initiatives, the activities that you guys give to us, they're so important at these times.
Yeah, and in fact, just to add to that before we move into the meditation, is that and there is a community and support here. It's not physical, and we're not literally coming into your homes, but there is a community here within this group as well. So if people feel like they need the support, that there are other people here in the same position that are probably most likely feeling like they can't cope, or that they're coping really well, or they're feeling blissed out, or they're feeling whatever it is. There are other people that are on the same journey.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Raki. Okay, well, I'm going to ask people who are meditating to sit however you feel comfortable, please, but have your feet on the ground. That's important for this meditation. Have your feet touching the ground. So if, like me, you're sitting on the floor, you can just bend your knees and bring your feet flat onto the ground if that feels comfortable. Or you can sit on a sofa, or you can sit on a chair. Just let your feet rest onto the ground. And spend a moment just feeling the ground underneath you. Just acknowledging the connection between your body and the ground, and noticing how you might experience it. Just being aware of the sensation. Sole of your feet touching carpet, floorboards, grass, mud, whatever your feet are on. Notice the temperature of the ground surface. Be aware of how effortlessly the ground supports you. And notice how willing you are to be helped, to be supported. Maybe you are inside, maybe you're outside. Whatever the ground is that your feet are resting on just now, it's representative of the earth. The same earth that your friends and family rest their feet on. The same earth that holds and supports all the people that you love all the way around the world. A little bit like a computer motherboard that we're all plugged into, or a string of fairy lights. We're all powered and lit up by the same energy. Each one of us connected to one another, but in different iterations of the human experience. And the invitation is to be present here in your own human experience. Just feeling what you feel, and noticing what you notice. You're keeping your feet rooted to the ground, and you bring your attention to your breath. And just notice your body breathing, really easily breathing in and out. Without trying to control the breath, just observing the way it most naturally moves through you. Just following the journey of the breath and noticing how the body accommodates the breath's natural pattern. The body's accepting the inhalation, welcoming it in, allowing it to create space. And then in return, offering up an exhalation, releasing and letting go. As you observe this pattern, perhaps you can recognize that it's symbolic of our reciprocal and symbiotic relationship with the universe. That sense of mutual support, the way that we gratefully accept, and then the way that we offer up. Our ability to receive, our willingness to give back. This is an exchange of energy. It's invisible, but definitely present, always available to be felt. And it's a lot like the connection that we have with our loved ones. It's enduring and we're always surrounded by it. Just as sure as one breath will follow the next, even when we're not thinking about it, even when it's not a mindful action. We can trust that our connections with the people we love will remain strong even within this distance. Just use the next few moments to lean into that, to the reassurance that even through separation, we are loved and we are supported and we are held. you are listening back at home and you want to spend a little bit longer leaning into the reassurance that you are loved, you are supported, you are held, feel free to just press pause now. Otherwise, if you're listening live and you're ready to move out of the meditation, just bring your attention back to the sensation at the soles of your feet. And then listening into any sounds that you can hear around you. It might be the gentle hum of the fridge, it might be traffic outside, could be your children. Use these sounds to help externalize your mind again. And if you're ready, just gently fluttering the eyes open. Thank you.
Thank you, Nikita. That was lovely, and such a strong sense of connection there, and really quieting for the baby as well. I noticed her, yeah, which is lovely. Which is lovely that kind of sense of meditation has offered some meditative calm to her as well.
Amazing how tuned in and connected they are to how we're feeling.
Yeah,
why it's important for us to have our practice so we can stay feeling calm, because the kids are feeling it as well so much.
Yeah, and they're less able to articulate, aren't they, what it is that they're feeling. But you're right, there's that picking up the sense of something going on around us.
Yeah, you're right.
So I don't know if anyone has any questions. I can see there are lots of people watching, but if anyone does have any questions, then please do share them in the chat box whilst we have Nikita and Sleeping AO here. But I just really wanted to ask you a couple of things, really, and I think you've already talked about in terms of doing any physical asana practice. You've been trying to open up in your shoulders and backs from carrying baby all day. Is there anything else that you found really helpful over the past few months, other than breathing, meditating, and just getting some ease in your thoracic spine?
Yeah, well, I have been feeling into the separation between the two sides of my abdominal wall, which is known as the diastasis separation, because it might feel like it's just one big sheet of muscle, but it's two separate sides, 4 different sheets, in fact, of muscles on either side, and held together by ligaments or connective tissue. And then as your belly stretches when you're pregnant, so does the diastasis recti. And when you've had your baby, that can take a while to gently knit back together again. So I've just been checking to see how mine's getting along. I'm a lot older now than I was when I had Lola, and my body's probably I assumed my body wouldn't find it as easy as it did before with Lola to recover. And I've been helping to encourage that closing with some very gentle tummy toning exercises, some toe taps, lying on my back with my knees stacked on top of my hips, keeping a bit of a right angle behind my knee and just gently tapping the toes to the ground. That helps to tone the muscles. And while I'm doing that, I wear a haramaki, which is a postpartum support. It feels really supportive for the lower back as well, because of course you've lost a lot of your core strength, and all that carrying of babies and lifting buggies and so on. it can take its toll on the lower back. So yeah, just gentle abdominal toning, and in general listening to my body, because while I've already had a baby and I know what it was like after Lola, my body feels quite different this time round. Different pregnancies, different postnatal recoveries.
Yeah, different pregnancy, different, and probably a different time as well. It's you know, we've the last 2 or 3 months have been different, haven't they, to anything we've experienced. So
Yeah, but I suppose being pregnant and having a baby, definitely being pregnant in the run up to giving birth, really teaches us to be adaptable and flexible, doesn't it? Because Raki, have you got children? I don't know. So we are encouraged to write a birth plan, and so I wrote like 7 different versions of a birth plan to cover every eventuality when I was pregnant with Lola, my first baby, and not a single one of them was relevant. They all went out the window, and it really forces you to be comfortable with flipping the script, because ultimately, as long as your baby's safe, you just don't care about the plans that you've made, because it's such an unknown, and we don't like the unknown. It's a little bit scary. We try to plan, don't we, to prepare so that we kind of know what to expect, but it's impossible because only the babies know. We have to just be okay with what we get and how it goes and whatever the experience is. Not what you planned for? Okay, let's just deal with it. And I think having done that twice has really prepared me to deal with this situation. None of us for a lockdown. None of us wanted to be housebound, but here's what we've got. Okay, let's go.
Yeah. So we have a question and a comment. So the first question is from Rachel, who says she's currently 34 weeks pregnant with her first baby and trying to prepare herself for the unknowable. So exactly what you were saying, and in this case, the unknowable experience of what being a mum might be like. She wants to ask how the first few weeks were for you and how your practice helped during this period. So very, very early, first few weeks.
So with Lola, this is your first baby, isn't it, Rachel? So with Lola, the very first few weeks were just an absolute bubble of love and bliss. It was beautiful, completely chaotic. But you don't mind that so much because you're so completely in love. If anything, that is the one lasting memory of becoming a new mum, just being so deeply, deeply in love. That's not something that you can prepare for. It comes and punches you right in the chest. It's so incredible. That's the most important thing to look forward to. And how did my practice help me? Just lots of breathing and being present, but actually having a baby encourages you to be present because you just don't want anything. You see them changing before your eyes so rapidly in those early days, and you just want to try and keep them small, and so you're soaking in every moment that you can, and you're quite happy to drop out of the real world so that you can stay at home and just look at your baby. It's different with the second one. I don't look at Io as much as I looked at Lola. I would just sit there and just stare at her, just amazed by her, amazed at my body.
And just hearing you say that is something that I think witnessed in friends and family with babies, that first baby is this kind of, it's such a sense of wonder, and then I think oftentimes with the second baby there's a lot. You've got one already to look after, so it's a whole different experience. Again, you are already a mother, but you're now a mother of 2, which is a different thing to juggle as well.
And I'm a second child, so I understand my mum a lot more now. I get it now.
Sandy says, hi Nikita, I'm not a mum but wanted to join this live regardless. I love your classes and soothing voice, beautiful meditation. Thank you.
Oh, thanks, Sandy. Welcome.
And Katie has a question. Katie says, I'm 39 weeks pregnant. I've been told that I shouldn't try any yoga until 8 weeks after birth. Are there any poses I can try before then that are a bit easier going?
I mean, I think the reason why they say 6 to 8 weeks is because your body is, it depends on what your birth is like, but for your body to process the trauma, it can take a while. I say trauma, that sounds really dramatic, but actually, you know, an injury, for example, poses a trauma for your body. And so just being pregnant is a major revolution for your body. But then to deliver a baby, whether it's a natural vaginal birth or through cesarean, it takes its toll on the body, and it can take quite a while before you feel like moving again. So definitely don't push or pressure yourself to do anything that your body doesn't feel ready to do, because your mind might feel like you want to go to class or do some yoga postures, but your body might not want to. So you have to check in with and consult and get approval from the body. I would say that you'll probably want to do some stretching across the chest. That's the most important thing, because you are going to go from just having a fairly normal posture. Of course, your posture changes when you're pregnant, but fairly normal posture in terms of the ratio of space across your chest and pectorals to your upper back. But once you have a baby and you're holding your baby and you're breastfeeding and you're gazing down, and everything's going to change in the thoracic spine and in the chest. So maybe think about just gently opening into the chest, perhaps soft shoulder, sorry, my words have gone. So soft circling into your shoulders and broadening across the chest and pectorals. What you can do is get a strap. I'm just feeding my baby, so I can't demonstrate, but if you get a strap and hold just above your head with your arms straight and take your arms really wide, on an exhale, take the arms back down till the strap meets the lower back. And then as you inhale, lift the strap back up again. And the idea is to keep a softness to your elbows, but don't let them bend. If you feel that you have to bend the elbows, you need more space between your hands. I hope that, Raki, did that make sense?
Yeah, it did. And I can't, not all in view either, but I know what you mean. You're holding the strap above your head and then you're just letting it go down behind that and then stretching.
Back up again. You want to try and keep the elbows nice and long rather than bending them. And as I say, if the hands are too close together, you will feel like you need to bend the elbows. So just take the hands a little bit wider so you have more space around the neck and shoulders. That can be quite helpful. Yeah. But I'm always available. If you can, even if you haven't practiced one of the classes, you can find one of my classes and just send me a message underneath them, and we can have a conversation like that. If you need to, if you want to, once your baby's here.
And you're around in the group as well, aren't you? So,
yes, of course.
You can be tagged into a message in the group
yes.
as well. And I guess it's difficult, isn't it, to imagine into, I think, with both Rachel and Katie are pregnant and wondering what it's going to be like, and I guess until it happens, it is an unknown, and not everyone has the same experience or necessarily, you know, some people may really want to practice straight away, some people might not. So until you know how you feel now, but it might be different, mightn't it?
Exactly. And of course, some people are ready to practice straight away, but you have to let your body be the judge of that rather than your mind, because often the mind and the body want two different things. There can be a little bit of conflict, and we have to be really strict about giving our body the platform in these times.
And I guess it's what you can practice in support of your body rather than in support of your head saying, I should feel this way, or I should do this, or I could do this. I used to be able to do this 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, exactly. I think when everything gets chaotic, when everything whirls out of control, which starts to happen during pregnancy because your body starts to feel quite unfamiliar and you can feel that you don't have control in the same way that we used to, we start to really crave our practice because that's our sense of normality and our feeling of grounding. But it's not always exactly the right thing. I used to be a big Ashtangi, a big dedicated Ashtangi. In fact, during my pregnancy with Lola, I was living on an Ashtanga retreat. And when she was born, I tried to practice Ashtanga again. I kept trying, actually. And it has never, ever felt right for my body. I mean, in the last few years, I'll practice a very soft, gentle, slow version of Ashtanga, but I could never go to class anymore. So be prepared for what you found supportive before in your practice to shift and become something quite different. And I would say keep some nice restorative classes on hand. Yeah.
And in fact, we've had Leah join us who says, "Hi Nikita and Raki. Sorry, just joined late as was napping after a bad night with my little one. But she's looking forward to doing the meditation another time." And in fact, Leah, I think when I met with Nikita today, just before we started the live, Nikita was saying that in fact she's had exactly the same experience. So she completely gets it. A bad night with the little one. She was saying, "I'm quite tired as well." Which is completely understand. And it's hot as well, so I think babies are probably thinking, what is this? What is this yellow thing in the sky?
Yeah. So I hope that you enjoy that practice later on then.
Yeah, and you will, Leah. It's beautiful, and I think there's an instant replay as well. So and then we'll be sharing it in the usual way beyond that as well. I think we've had a really lovely chat and such a peaceful meditation as well, and hopefully you'll have a really peaceful evening, both you, Nikita, and Ao, and Leah, and your little one as well, and in fact everyone out there, because I think it's tough when it's as hot at the best of times often to get a really peaceful night, but I can imagine with with people that are heavily pregnant or with little ones as well, it can be a little challenging as well. Oh, she's very sleepy, very lovely.
She's fast asleep now.
Oh,
thank you, Raki, so much for having me.
It's been so lovely, and thank you, for those lovely supportive classes. I'm with Sandy on those as well. I've really been enjoying revisiting those time and again. So they are lovely. They are really nice.
Thank you, and thanks everyone for tuning in.
Yeah, and as Nikita said, if you do have any questions later on, she is really happy to support. So thank you, and for those about to have a baby, if you do want to reach out and say, "I feel strange," or "It's so amazing," then it'll be lovely to hear all of those stories. And that's why we have this community. We're here to support each other. So
yeah, absolutely.
So brilliant! Thank you very much, Nikita. I'll let you get the little one into a more comfortable position now, and maybe you can take a few moments for yourself at the end of this as well.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Yeah, and thanks everyone for watching, and definitely post in if you've got any questions or comments.